What's going on, guys? MegaGig back with another video, back with Diablo 3, and we've got our Barbarian here. We've got a charge Barb today, as you've seen by the title, specifically a speed charge Barb. Now this build is very similar to a video that I did on the PTR, or this build is similar to a video I did on the PTR some months ago, a full Raekor charge Barb with toughness. This build was actually brought to me by a friend of mine, Karsh here. And it's similar, but it is slightly different. There are some changes, and this one is built more around speed. This works, of course, it's great for T13 builds, but this is actually a speed build that, depending on your gear and your Paragon level, can go all the way up into the 80s and even 90. He's got some pretty good gear. He's doing 90 pretty easily. I can do 90 in this, but it's not really a speed build per se for that. With my gear not being super great and no augments or anything, I can do 85 really fast, and then of course, like I said, it tears up T13. So we'll probably run a Greater Rift 85 to show you guys how it works. I don't know if we'll do a T13. It's pretty obvious it'll work on there if it works on an 85. But it revolves mainly around Seismic Slam and the immense damage that it does. Since the Raekor set got buffed on the PTR, and of course now it's buffed on live. So you're going to need the full 6 pieces of Raekor's set. The 2-piece set bonus Furious Charge refunds a charge if it hits only one enemy. 4-piece set bonus Furious Charge gains the effect of every rune and deals 1000% increased weapon damage. The effect of every rune is nice. The increased damage, we do a little bit of charge damage, but that's not our main damage dealer. Our main damage dealer is going to be Seismic Slam, coming from the 6-piece set bonus buff from that as well. Every use of Furious Charge increases the damage of your next Fury spending attack by 2800%. That is a big number, and this effect stacks up to 5 times, or it stacks up to I think it stacks up to 99 times. You can see the stack there, but you can use 5 stacks at a time, and it's 2800% per stack. So that buffing Seismic Slam is going to cause us to do an immense amount of damage very quickly. So what we're going to be using for other gear here, you're going to want the Fury of the Vanished Peak, and of course the better this is, the more damage you're going to be doing. Reduce Fury cost, Seismic Slam by 50%, and increase its damage by up to 500%. You can see mine is an ancient, but the stat roll on the legendary affix is not very good. So if I had that up to 500%, of course it would be a lot better. If I had a good furnace, which is what we're using here in the cube, I could swap it out, and you could use Fury of the Vanished Peak here and use the furnace equipped either way. And then for the belt, we are using Pride of Cassius. This is mainly for when you're pushing greater rifts, not pushing greater rifts, when you're running greater rifts faster, because you're going to need some toughness. We are using the Band of Might in the cube as well, but we're really going to need more toughness for Ignore Pain on those elites. And so we are using Pride of Cassius there to extend the duration of Ignore Pain, so we can have that up, hopefully long enough to kill elites, depending on how annoying the elite is. If it's shielding, positioning, things like that, we can kill it before Ignore Pain goes down. Again, for speed runs, you might actually be asking, why do you need to speed run greater rifts? Well, if you're in the higher tier of greater rifts, like a lot of people are now in the upper 90s and the lower hundreds, you'll be wanting to augment your stuff, and so to be able to speed run greater rifts in the like 80, 85, maybe low 90 range, it really helps you level up gems a lot faster, legendary gems such as a Stone, Bane of the Trapped, Bane of the Powerful, and so on. Speaking of, those are the gems we're using, and we'll go over those in just a second as well. Nemesis Bracers, of course, spawn an enemy champion at a shrine or a pylon, and this just helps progression a lot faster. I'm using a Hellfire Amulet. I'm still using the Boon of Volcathos passive. For this particular build, it doesn't really matter. but that is a good passive to have, just so your Wrath of the Berserker gets off cooldown faster. The more we can have that up, the more damage we're going to be doing. As for the rings, we're using Focus and Restraint. Each use of when you hit with a resource generating attack, you gain 50% increased damage. When you hit with a resource spending attack, you deal 50% increased damage. So we're going to be taking advantage of both of that between Seismic Slam and Charge. As for the gems, Bane of the Trapped is a huge damage multiplier. Bane of the Stricken is a nice damage, or Bane of the Powerful, excuse me, is a nice damage multiplier. And we're going to be killing elites pretty fast. So Bane of the Powerful is better in that respect than Bane of the Stricken. If you want to check out the video, like I said, that I did before, that I mentioned for actual pushing, then you'll probably swap out for Stricken. Now, Zay's Stone of Vengeance. This is one that Karsh is using, and I am using for the purpose of this build, but you can swap it out if you like for something else. You can maybe get some toughness or something. This is going to let you do a lot more damage, though, at range, and the Seismic Slam Rumble rune that we're using actually does a lot of range. It extends up to 50 yards, so that is all the way up at the increase, at the maximum of this at 50 yards, so Seismic Slam at the very end is getting buffed by over 50%, depending on which rank your Zay's Stone of Vengeance is. So that, coupled with the passive, we'll go ahead and go over this real quick, increase No Escape, increase the damage of Seismic Slam against, or by 30% against enemies that are 15 yards away or more, so just another damage multiplier on a ranged version of that. Of course, you could swap that out if you wanted to do just, close-up damage. You could maybe go for Bane of the Stricken instead of that as well, and then you could swap this out for Berserker Rage if you liked, or maybe even Brawler. So yeah, so those are some options there. That is pretty much the gear we're running. I'm still running diamonds for the Greater Rift pushing runs, depending on your gear, or Greater Rift speed runs, excuse me. If you're just running T13, of course it kind of depends on your gear and your overall stats. You can put in rubies as well. Here is my stat page, which I generally forget to show, and a lot of people like to see it. And then I'll scroll down and you can get a good look at that and pause it if you want. I'm just over 1 million life, so I've got plenty of life for this being a speed build. And yeah, cooldown reduction is pretty important. Where is it? There it is. I'm only at 34%. If you can get this up a little closer to 40, then that's probably better, just to get Ignore Pain off cooldown faster, to get Wrath of the Berserker off cooldown faster, and everything else. So onto the skills. We are using Seismic Slam Rumble. This expends all remaining fury to cause the ground to shudder after the initial strike for 15% weapon damage for each point of fury spent. So the higher you can get your maximum fury also is going to cause you to do more damage with your Seismic Slam, which is actually why I am running the Animosity passive here. I believe Karsh was running Berserker Rage, and that gives 25% more damage while at maximum fury or near maximum fury. So you can swap those out as you wish. We're also using Ignore Pain Iron Hide, again, to make Ignore Pain last longer. We hopefully want to keep that up throughout the entire battle when we're fighting elites. Furious Charge, Merciless Assault. Doesn't really matter on this because, again, we're gaining the effect of every Furious Charge rune from the 4-piece set bonus there. And we're using Battle Rage Bloodshed. This is going to actually be our second main damage dealer. Seismic Slam Rumble, we're going to, boom, you can see it goes way out there. It's going to do a ton of damage. After that, that damage is going to save up. We're going to charge in, and then all the damage that we just did, we're going to get 20% of that from Battle Rage Explode on us again. So this target area is going to get hit twice with a lot of damage. And then we're using Warcry Veteran's Warning, mainly for toughness. You can use it to help you generate a little bit of fury as well. And of course, Wrath of Berserker Insanity. And then, like I said, we're using No Escape. We're using Animosity for maximum fury. Using Ruthless to help us finish off elites and other things more. And then, of course, Rampage is another great damage and toughness skill as well. In the cube, we already went over Furnace and Band of Might, but we're also using the Bracers of Destruction. This is going to buff up our Seismic Slam even more. For Paragon Points, if you're just doing this for T13, again, depending on your stats, you can probably just pump it full of strength. For the Greater Rift speedrunning version, again, not pushing version, but speedrunning version for lower Greater Rifts, Maximum Fury, again, is going to help you deal more damage with Seismic Slam. You don't really need movement speed. I've pumped a couple of points into Vitality just to bump me over the 1 million mark, and then the rest in Strength. For offense, you're going to want critical hit, chance, damage, cooldown reduction, and then attack speed. Doesn't really do a whole lot with this build, so put that last. Defense, go Resist All, Armor, Life, and Life Regeneration. You generally go Resist All before Armor because Barbarians have a decent armor stack already, and their resistances are pretty low. So go for Resist All first, and then Armor, and then Life Regen. And for here, you'll probably want to do area damage, life per hit, resource cost reduction, or gold fine, and gold fine in that order. You can switch out life per hit and then do area damage, resource cost reduction, and gold fine. For this particular build, neither of these two things are really going to benefit you at all. So it really just depends on if you're surviving well, you can do more area damage. If you need a little more sustain, you can do life per hit first. Let's go ahead and you'll see my sheet toughness there is only 262 million. And that's basically because I don't have really any toughness things other than Band of Might. And even in battle, it doesn't really go up higher than that. 85 is about as high as I can go with speed runs, get them done in a few minutes, depending on the rift. Again, I've gone with a little bit of defensiveness here with my diamonds, and we'll go ahead and run this rift, and I'll do an empowered rift as well. Go ahead and get your buffs up. And again, with this, you want to charge in and get those stacks up. You can see those stacks there. Get at least 5 before you... And here's 2 elite packs, so get 5, get out, charge back in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Charge out, back in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoa. And even with, it looks like Ignore Pain actually dropped. But even on 85, you know, we still take a pretty good amount of damage. And of course these are fire chains and electricity and all kinds of stuff too. Generally you'll be able to survive. They won't hit you too hard, but these 2 packs here. There, we got them both down. But you can see it just eats up elites. The set was buffed to the moon like everything else. Now your Oculus Ring is still going to give you more of a buff than the Zaze is. The Zaze is 50, Oculus Ring, depending on your Oculus Ring, of course. Mine is all the way at the max, 85. If you can get both, that is even better. But you can see we just eat up elites. And so you can imagine if this is on Greater Rift 85, then a T13, of course, is going to be very fast as well. And again, if you already have stacks saved up, then just make sure you get to maximum fury, or as close if you can, before you dump all of your fury. And did we get all those orbs? I think we did. You eat up elites so fast on this that I don't generally worry about clearing trash, kind of elite hunt, since it's a speed running thing. However, if there is a ton of trash, then you do want to kill it because that'll give you good progression. Like, this isn't too bad here. Whoa. And I'm trying to dump my fury in that direction. And it's just not going off. And that was a misstep. You can see we really do a ton of damage with Seismic Slam, and then our passive from our Battle Rage Bloodshed also does a ton of damage when we go in, especially if you get good density. Remember, with this particular build, using No Escape and Zaze, you do want to try and get distance before you pop your Seismic Slam. If you switch it up and you don't want to do it for distance, then you don't have to worry about getting this. Whoa! CC big time. Uh-oh. We got CC, but we didn't die. But we have died. We died in the very beginning, didn't we? So it doesn't really matter. Of course, there we had the power shrine going, but it still helped us nuke those down. Wow, these floors have not been super great. And I don't have the best pickup radius on my gear, so it kind of takes me a minute to pick up all the orbs. Is that another blue? It is. Oh, there we are at the Rift Guardian. So go ahead and charge them up, get out. The damage you do when you come back in will pop from your Battle Rage, and then there it is. Yeah. So that Rift wasn't too bad, but it wasn't the best. But again, this is it's a really fun build, and yeah, it's pretty fast when it comes to the higher greater rifts. This is 85. Again, I could probably do a 90 with this, just maybe not a speed version. If I was going to do a 90, or if I was going to push with this build, I'd swap out Bane of the Powerful for Esoteric, and I don't know, I'd get a defensive stat or a defensive passive here. But yeah, if you want to see me taking a look at this and doing it a little more in the pushing sense, then check out my video that I did on the PTR. The stats of the gear might be a little bit different. I can't remember if it's 2800% on the 6-piece set in that video or not. And if you guys would like to see just an updated video of that and an actual build guide rather than kind of a first look thing, let me know as well in the comments. But that is the full Raekor speed build. Thank you to Karsh for sharing it with me. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like and a comment, and subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you guys for watching. More good stuff to come. Take care.